Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning trading room. It is Tuesday today, right? Yes, okay, good. All right, the NASDAQ here off to a bit of a soft start. Oh, hold on, might have spoken too soon. Not quite the volatility we saw out of the open yesterday. I was reviewing here the overnight, and it looks like the market did make some decent swings here through the overnight session and through the Asian. But when all the dust settled, we're pretty much taking over from where we closed yesterday. So it looks like the market closing somewhere around the 69.50 area, and that's pretty much where we're starting the day here this morning. Those of you who like to do your first in-sync eagle signal, a very nice signal right here. Great follow through. I'm going to have to start doing that one again. I keep pointing it out, and every time I do, I'm asking myself, why am I not taking that signal? And of course, you can do a similar thing on the Raptor if you're not an Eagle owner. You can just look for your first in-sync signal. And that would be right there. Doesn't even need to be one of your high probability signals, although this one would be, almost close enough to qualify as a number 3 signal. Almost. All right, so a very, very nice little bullish start here to the day. Wow, look at our band counter here. That is very, very broad. Now that measures from the soft edge up here all the way down to the hard edge. We're almost at 100 ticks wide. That's huge. Let's see, is it going to get into triple digits? Oh, almost. I would not be surprised to see a little bit of a pullback here. Let's see if we get a number 2 signal. Or if those of you who like to, do the band counter just for what it's worth, you can look to short your first bearish bar. That would almost be like stepping in front of a truck this morning, though. My goodness, look at how strong this market is. All right, I will entertain a number 2 signal here if it develops. So we're kind of looking at a little bit of a retest now of the high. We'll see if we come back here with a sell signal. The first time the high holds would be a good excuse to short. Very, very aggressive. Let's see what they give us here. So the number 2 signal, of course, counter trend. It's very obvious that we have a trend going on here. And, maybe instead of looking counter trend, I should just be looking to take a with trend signal. Oh, there's the number 2 signal. I'm a little bit late here. Okay, so I'm going to get a second push opportunity. Now, like I said, folks, this is a very, very low probability trade because of the strength here of the uptrend. And I'm going to get a chance here to adjust my trade. And let's see if it's going to trickle down here a little, or if they're just going to turn on their heels again and just continue the uptrend. Hey, way to go, Floyd. Floyd, 770 on the open with 2 contracts. Nicely done, Floyd. Great way to start the day. What a monster move out of the gate, though. Crazy move. Obviously, very, very bullish here to start. Now, I could start to bring my stops in a little bit here if I were inclined. Best stop is still above the high. This tells me for sure I'm wrong. But if you're getting a little bit anxious on the trade, you could certainly bring it in above that swing high right there. A little bit more bearish pressure. It's not a done deal, not by a long shot. Okay, I'm going to bring my stops in now a little bit. On the off chance that this is going to turn into a little bit of a bull flag, the market's just going to rally on through. In fact, I bet Steve's probably got his entry order right here, looking to buy that little breakout. So there you go, the evils of counter trend trading. Yeah, Mark says, awesome, Floyd. I think he's 2 for 2 for 2 days. Yeah, I think he is too. All right, here they go again with their selling tempting signals. Yeah, it could be Mark. Mark says, I think we're going to head up to 70.30. Well, we're awfully close. I think given how strong that rally was out of the open, that monster move, it's a little bit too early to try to short anything. Although the second leg higher here, not nearly as strong, very small by comparison. And here we go, we get a little bit of a sideways skid again. Well, even so, it looks like the hard edge bounce here would have found its profit objective, so not all bad. If we treat this as a little bit of a sideways range, here's the breakout, here's the retest. If they get too much, okay, there's the push. If they get too much deeper, then that really does open up the possibility of a short. Not a long-term short, but certainly a short-term short. All right, I'll try it one more time here now. Oh no, that's not the number 2 signal. It's just the envelope from the Geiger counter. There's the number 2. Okay, I'm just going to pop in with a short signal. I'll throw my stops up here. This is going to be the last time I'm going to try to short this thing if they turn on their heels again. In fact, I may try to take this down here to where the market broke out before, because this is where if they're going to try to head lower, this is where they're going to go. They're going to try to get back into this zone. I'll bring in my break even a little bit. Oh, that was mean. Okay. No more getting cute here. Well, the good news is with those types of trades, your stops are relatively tight. And what that does is, well, it was a loss, but it wasn't a huge loss. Hope this isn't one of these days where I kind of get myself stuck in just thinking about one side of the trade, and I find it impossible almost to trade the other side. I hate it when that happens. Oh, look at this. Here they come with another number 2 signal and a lot more sideways trading, a lot more, shall we say, bearish pressure. You can see here on the hawk how the market is breaking up. Well, that was a quick little move. So as we got our little hard edge bounce down here on the Raptor, I see that we also got a late filter entry signal here on the Falcon. Came about pretty quick. You'd have to almost be ready with your buy and sell buttons, but still a nice little late filter entry signal. Very nice flat trend line, not changing color. Filter going out of sync, coming back into sync. And some very nice follow through off of that. What time is it? Oh, well, there's part of the problem too. We're only about 20 minutes into the day. I may wait for opening range here to expire. Here now another very tempting number 2 signal to short. Things getting a lot quieter right now. All right, a little bit of a pullback back into the hard edges, both here on the Eagle and the Raptor. The Hawk and the Falcon both looking a little bit stuck. Well, I don't think there's any denying that was probably the move of the day right there. That big rally up. In case this is turning into yet another little bull flag, but you can see how the momentum is fading a little bit. Okay, just to be different, I'll show you a with trend trade. As opening range is nearing its end, we got a series of hard edge bounces. Number 3 signals, 1, 2, 3, both kind of topping out in the same place. Here now a third, pardon me, a fourth. And I've just got this trend line here because, well, a lot of traders are going to see that trend line. It's not like it's a mystery. It looks like there's some active selling around that trend line zone. And there's some buying here around this 70-18 zone where the hard edge is. Got loads of candy striping going on here in the background. That should tell you the market's moving sideways. Yet another hard edge bounce. This one would likely print. I'm surprised it didn't print as a number one signal, actually, because the clouds were out of sync. Now they're back into sync. Well, look at that. All right, got a little bit back from my earlier loss. Hey. Oh my goodness, if I could save myself so much money if A, I avoided trading during opening range, and B, I just didn't do counter trend trades. Wow. It's my downfall for sure. Those two things. If I could stay away from that, I would do just fine. All the more reason for keeping a trading journal, because that's the kind of stuff you learn from a trading journal. Now, whether you actually learn from your mistakes, that's a different story. But at least you'll know what your mistakes are. Cold comfort that it is. All right. I'm starting to wonder whether or not the sellers are actually going to step up now, because we had this little bit of a sideways range. We saw the market breakout, could not hold the breakout. That usually opens up the door for a sell. And you could just take any old short signal that develops. Looks like we had a first micro macro cross here. Pardon me. Had a, well, I'm not even going to call it a sloppy rule of three here on the eagle. Really, the only clue you had on the eagle here was that the breakout did not stick. We're working an early trend change signal here on the Raptor. That's the early cloud crossover, and a proper trend change signal here on the Falcon as well. So all depends how aggressive you want to get on this. Maybe now that we've broken through the bottom end of the trading range, we should wait for the retest of the bottom end breakout and see if that holds. That sounds like a smart thing to do. Okay, we're back kind of toward the middle, almost the middle of the trading range. I'm okay with that because it is a relatively tight little range. If it comes out from here and continues lower, that might offer a decent short. All right, well, here we go with the eagle. We've got the warning dot. There's a little bit of a flinch there still. We got a very, very loose 4-arrow consolidation here with the hawk. The falcon, surprisingly, the trend line flipping over again, and it's actually working a possible late filter entry to buy. Notice the filter is out of sync here at the moment. And this would be like an early number one signal here on Lay's Raptor. I think given what we've come through right here, a second push opportunity may be the way to go. Might be a little bit more prudent. Oh, no, maybe not. Okay. Maybe they're not quite ready to break out yet. All right, here we go again. We do have now a number one signal printing. And let's see. I could throw an order in just below the low. This could be my just in case order. Just in case the market runs away and doesn't really give me another chance to get on board signal. As I wait for another second push to develop here. I do think I said something about not trying to short this market again today. But this setup looking certainly a lot stronger than the other ones did. And hooray! Got down and hit my profit objective on that one too. So that pretty much squares me for my earlier recklessness. And I probably have enough left over for a cup of coffee. Well, I feel a little better about that. So just a little bit of a review on just basic price action, especially in terms of a reversal. This is almost the perfect telltale. There's two things that you want to look for that tip you off to a market reversal. Number one is a tight little trading range with a breakout that doesn't hold. That is almost guaranteed to move the other way. In fact, if I was faster, I probably would have just flat out sold the next sell signal, regardless of what it was, whether it was on the Hawk, the Falcon, the Raptor, the Eagle. I would have just punched in with a sell signal. The other reversal clue is the test of the extreme, where the market just flat out shows you it can no longer continue the trend that got you there. This is also a test of the extreme. It's much smaller. Normally, we would anticipate a test of the extreme to come up here somewhere. But if you pay attention to those two things, you can usually get yourself on the right side of the market relatively early. At least for, I'm not talking a monster move like this. These, while they do happen, tend to be rare. We'll see them a couple, 3 times a month. But just your bread and butter trades, these kinds of moves right here. And there's certainly nothing wrong with those. Even here on the Eagle, you can see we would have not had too much trouble getting down to our high probability profit objective. Trade forecaster certainly correct this morning, calling trend mode right out of the gate. My goodness. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow how this follows through, because it's not like the old days. Not like the old days when I had to walk to the mailbox 2 miles uphill in the snow both ways to get my charts, to update them by hand. What I was going to say is, it used to be that if the market would put in a rally day, you could normally anticipate the next day to be a rally day as well. Either higher or lower, it didn't matter. But not so much anymore. It seems like if we get a rally day, the next day is very likely to be sideways. Very likely to be a little constipated. Okay, so we're in the big scheme of things, I would say we are very much in a pullback mode. And although I did manage to take a couple of dollars out of this move lower, this is starting to look like a bull flag. Oh, I see Steven's in the room. Steven, I bet you dollars to donuts you're probably got your trend line sitting like this and you're looking for a buy. It's a nice little bit of a breakout there. Back to the hard edge. Maybe not enough there on the eagle, but certainly I bet you we had a number 2 signal. Yes, we did. So a nice little number 2 signal that you would have been a little bit easier to confirm with that trend line break. In this case, the number 2 signal, not really counter trend, is it? It's actually the with trend signal as far as the bigger trend today is concerned. We'll see if we get a 2-3-2 type setup. Steven says he'd like to see a little bit more of a pullback first. Somewhere maybe around 69.95. Well, goodness knows we haven't drifted all that far off 7,000. Oh, well, I guess yesterday we did, didn't we? But 7,000 has been a very popular number of late. All right, we got our 2-3-2 type setup. And typically this makes for a decent reversal. Actually, I'm going to do an OCO order. I'm going to buy up here. I'm going to short down here. Again, what's interesting is these number 2 signals, if you take the bigger trend into account, are actually the with trend signals this time, not the counter trend. There we go. We got the stops ready, at least the initial stop. All right. A little bit of a bullish break. Let's see if it holds. In fact, I may hold my stop just a little bit. Oh, come on, don't stop now. All right, so we got the break even. Do we have any giddy up here? Let's go. Nope, not yet. Perhaps a little premature there. Geiger counter weighing on the market somewhat. The hawk actually at the same time gave us a decent signal and an earlier signal as well with that first micro macro cross. So has the trend changed? Are we looking at a bear flag now? Oh, we've got the #1 signal printing, and I do believe that is near our, if we draw a little trend line there. Once again, I think I'm going to throw in my just in case order below the low. And if I were inclined, I could tighten that up a bit, but I'm a little bit too late, so I'll leave it where it is. This was a nice little second push opportunity to try to get on board that #1 signal. And we have another second push opportunity right here. All right, let's see what they got. See, where was Steven thinking? 69.95. That could be a very interesting little move. We're kind of holding up here on the secondary resistance zone a little bit. All right, and we're drifting back now to the hard edge. So I'm going to close that order out, and we'll just leave it alone for now. What they're doing is they're trying to test both ends of this little trading range that's developed. So once again, we're getting this little sideways congestion. So they're going to test the bottom end. They're going to try to test the top end. Eventually it will break, and then we can look to see if the breakout will stick or fail. and that should help us a little bit. But so long as we're within this trading range, it's going to be a little bit tricky. So when you're getting all these background signals, with minimal follow through, when you're looking at your chart and it seems like it's moving sideways, maybe just exercise a little extra caution. Your clouds are starting to twist up like a rope. Mickey has a question. Mickey asks, Eric, I've asked you this before, but I'm having trouble with it. If I use the buy or sell button to enter a trade, how do I automatically get a profit target and break even? Currently, all I can get is a trailing stop when I have the trail indicator box checked. Okay, it's actually a fairly simple fix. So you're going to go here to your strategies window, or you can click on this icon up here in your header as well. You're going to highlight your trade manager. If your trade manager is currently on, you'll need to disable it. So you'll need to go to false and apply. And that will make the trade manager disappear. What that does is it opens up the control panel that you can change it. To enable your break even, what you want is you want to go up here near the very top. It's your second heading. Enable trade manager. I'm not sure why it says disable, but enable trade manager. Yours is probably set at false. You need to change that to true. This is also where you set your break even trigger. Once you've made those changes, I suggest you come here to the template manager, and here where it says save, just click and type in a name, press enter. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Mickey's Raptor. What that does is next time you load a fresh chart, not when you open your charts in the morning, but when you load a fresh chart, you can load your template without having to make all your changes. When everything is set the way you like, come back here to your Enable tab, go to True, and then click Apply again. And now you're going to have your new settings saved. I would also recommend at that point going to your control panel and saving your workspace. That way it's going to save those changes that you made to your trade manager. Now, as far as the buy and sell market buttons go, if you, as you've already discovered, if you have your trail indicator tab on, and let's say we're going to sell, you're going to get your trailing stop exactly where your stop strategy is, and you should get your profit target based on how your profit targets are set up. If you're not getting a profit target, try switching into manual mode. What may be happening, Mickey, is depending on where your stop is, the trade manager and if you're not all in, all out on target, the trade manager may not be giving you a profit target, like if you're doing a 50-50 split or something, you're not getting a profit target because you're only running a single contract. I hope that makes sense. But that's how you set your auto break even. And if you have your profit targets enabled, like just to be sure it works, here we'll close this out. Just to be sure it works, let's say we're going to do like 100% all in, all out. Come on, let's go. There we go. So we've got 100%. We're on manual mode now, and I'm just going to short. You see, I'm going to get my profit target for one contract because I'm in manual mode, and my stops are going to be wherever my stop strategy is set up. So give that a try. That should work for you. If it doesn't, reboot your NinjaTrader, and if it still doesn't work, send us an email. In particular, if you want to send it off to Ben. Because that's who I'm going to send it to. The other thing you can try is if you're in sim mode, try throwing in multiple contracts on your manual mode. Like try putting in 3 or 4 contracts. And just to see whether or not you can still get a profit target printing. Yeah, Paul says, I never get a profit target. I do get a break even. I do know sometimes it has to do with how the trade manager calculates your risk if you're in risk percent mode. Okay, well, we got a lot of sideways stuff going on here again. Oh, sounds like the landscaper has shown up. He's got his work cut out for him this week. Oh my goodness, we're right next to the Trans-Canada Trail, a public hiking trail that goes from coast to coast. And there's some pretty big trees on the trail, and they all seem to like to shed their leaves in our yard. So he's got lots of work to do today. Even if you don't get a profit target with your buy or sell orders, you can always just right click on the chart. All right, things looking very content to be moving sideways. Or maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe we're going to get another little bit of a move lower here toward the bottom end of this trading range. Paul's asking any update on Ninja 8, or pardon me, Trade Manager 8 for Ninja 8. I've spoken to the programmer so many times, and you know, he keeps telling me, well, Ninja makes tweaks to the software and it messes up what he's doing. And honestly, Paul, I hesitate to even say anything because he's lied to me so often. But we are working on a solution. And we're almost there. So stay tuned. I would rather he just came out and said, I can't do it. I can't do it. Ninja 8 is too different. I can't make it work. I would rather he said that. All right. Well, we have hit a bit of a sideways drift, have we not? Uh, yeah, Paul's asking, will the Raptor work on Ninja 8? Everything works on Ninja 8 except the Trade Manager. All the DTS tools, the Raptor, the support and resistance lines. The problem is, here it is in a nutshell, folks. The difference between the Raptor, the support and resistance lines, anything else you put on your chart, Bollinger Bands, RSI, stochastics, the list goes on and on and on. Those are all indicators. The Trade Manager is a strategy. It is comparable, well, it feeds off the ATM and order platform for Ninja. Therefore, it's a different animal entirely than an indicator. I don't understand the hows and wherefores, but apparently because it is a strategy, it's much more susceptible to breaking. But like I said, I've got a couple people on it now. And excuse me while I close the window here so you don't have to listen to the leaf blower. And hopefully, I know we're very, very close to some sort of fix, but like I said, he's given me dates so many times before that he's missed that I really, really hesitate to give you any kind of date. All right, here we go. Quick little move lower off of this number one signal. So now we've had a breakout to the bottom end of the trading range. And wow, look at them go. The market's moving so fast, I almost feel just like hopping in any old place. Give me a short signal to sell. Oh, sorry. Maybe the leaf blower cut my sound out. Oh, all right. All right, let's try this again. So from the beginning, you'll notice that this is the eagle in the Raptor filter. The eagle controls the whole Raptor filter. It is adjustable. By default, it tends to be the same as your brick size. So let's put that on there. So whatever is going on in the Eagle Trend Trader will be represented in the filter down below. Now, what I have a tendency to do, when we first came out with the tools, they were all about confluence, namely that if you produced a sell signal, the filter had to be pink. If you produced a buy signal, the filter had to be blue. But then we discovered that, hey, that didn't always work out that way. In fact, sometimes you got some very nice signals when the filter was out of sync. I tend to use the filter more as, not so much for confirming the signal, but more as an indication of who is controlling the market, which way the market may be leaning. And I do that by comparing the size of the blocks and the frequency of the blocks. Just like with the other filters, whether it's the Falcon, the Hawk, the Raptor, you don't want to see the filter going out of sync too many times. What that does is it just suggests that the market is kind of stuck going sideways. So in this case here, you can see we had a big blue block, which suggested some bullishness. We had a magenta block show up, and that suggested some bearishness, but then it was quickly followed by a blue block and a red block. And now I'm starting to think, okay, maybe this market is sideways, and that's confirmed what's seen up here. So what I'm looking for at this point is I'm looking for a reasonably good sized block, one that's at least going to match the one prior to it, and ideally even be bigger. So here we go. We have a number one signal. We have a decent size bearish block, perhaps even a little bit bigger than that bullish block. And so this tells me that, okay, I've got some bearish momentum. They seem to have outweighed the buyers. Therefore, you can take this signal with a little bit more confidence. You'll notice that your number two signals will never be in sync with the filter below. They're always going to be out of sync. And you can see this signal had some decent follow through to it. Now, notice what happens. We have this nice little bearish block, and now all of a sudden we got some bullishness showing up. This now is do or die for the sellers because look, we've got all this bearishness, but what are prices doing? They're going the opposite direction. It's almost like divergence in that sense. You know, the filter is going lower because we've got all this bearishness, and yet prices are going higher. So we've got divergence between price and the filter. Price, what goes on in the price chart always trumps what's going on in the filter. That's one reason why I minimize my filter. And like I say, I use it primarily to judge who is in control of the market. At this point, I would think the sellers would be, and yet we produce a number one signal, a very strong number one signal. And then of course it continues higher and has some very good follow through. We don't actually get the confluence until a few bars later, where it occurs right here. Now, the Raptor being the Raptor, of course, you can adjust things. So feel free to experiment. If you want to make your filter more sensitive, go ahead, reduce the brick size on it. And that will make it more responsive. If you're looking for confluence between the signals and the filter, this will certainly give you that. Like I say, your number 2 signals will almost always be out of sync, but you still can see the momentum shifts. They're going to be a little bit more frequent, but yeah, feel free to experiment. But that's how I use the filter. If the filter is out of sync with the signal, it does not bother me. Like I said, what goes on up here trumps what goes on down here. And there's the landscaper again, right outside the window. So if I'm looking here, you can see things starting to break up a little bit. It's flip-flopping back and forth. This just kind of tells me that the market is moving sideways, which it is. So if I'm going to take a signal at this point, I'm going to probably wait for a second push opportunity. So here I got my number 1. Here I got the reaction. I'll probably throw an order to short in below there versus trying to take it on the hash mark. Now we've got some bullishness coming back. Will it outweigh the block, the bearish block before it? If it does, well, then I can start to perhaps get a little bit more bullish on the market. Let's say we go up here for a couple of bars, it turns over, and my blue block is way out here, right? So my blue block well outweighing my selling block. Well, maybe I'll do an OCO order. I'll look to buy above, I'll look to short below. And there he is with his leaf blower. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Like I said, don't be afraid to experiment. It's pretty easy to, back test. Just grab your cursor here at the bottom, drag it over, and see how the signals follow through relative to the filter. So here's a number 2 signal on a pink filter. Did that work out? Yeah, actually, it gave you a little bit of heat, but it had decent follow through. Here's a number 1 signal on a blue filter. Did it work out? Yes, no problem there. What you want to do is you want to get yourself to the point not of necessarily filtering out every poor signal, because like I said, context is always important. When you're looking at a chart like this and it seems like the market is moving sideways, you should be suspect of all your signals, regardless of what's going on in the filter, regardless of anything else, right? If you identify a sideways trading range, if you think, okay, market's in a bit of a sideways twist, I should always let it break out, I should let it retest, and I should look for evidence that the market's going to continue in the direction of the breakout. You will never, ever, ever be able to filter out every poor signal. But if you can get yourself to the point where if you get a signal and you have the confidence to take it, that's really what you're after, right? So here we got a little bit of a sideways market, and this is because the euro is closing, or it has closed. We're not going to get a lot of activity out of the euro for another 12 hours or so. But, we're going to wait for a breakout. We can see we've got sideways trading range. We're going to wait for a breakout. We're going to see if the breakout holds. So let's say we get a bullish break. If the breakout holds, come on now. If the breakout holds, then we can look to buy, whether it's a pink filter or a blue filter, although it'll probably be blue. If the breakout fails, well, then we can start to look to sell because the breakout did not succeed. So I hope that makes sense. But like I say, the filter at the bottom to me really is secondary. I don't place as much emphasis on it. That's not to say I ignore it, but I do always pay more attention to what's going on up here than what's going on down here. All right, well, here we go with another bit of a sideways drift. All right, well, Brad's still working out there. I'm not going to torture you guys by listening to the leaf blower for too much longer, so let's button up shop. I will talk to you again tomorrow morning. We'll see you then. Bye for now.